show. This one's for the warrior, yeah. One time for the warrior. This one's for the warrior, yeah. One time for the beyond the show. This one's for the warrior, yeah. One time.
Hi, and welcome to Beyond the Show. I am Tabitha McGee, the CEO of the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia, and also your host on Beyond the Show. This is a companion podcast to our show, Unveiling Sickle Cell, Beyond the Pain. And I'm really excited that you all are here today, but here's what I need you to do. I need you to like, share, and tag us at Sickle Cell GA. We want every warrior, every caregiver, anyone that know anything about sickle cell or don't know about sickle cell, we want to share this with them. So the purpose of Beyond the Show is to delve a little bit deeper into a conversation that I started with Jackie George on Unveiling Sickle Cell, Beyond the Pain. And so Jackie, I am so super excited that you're here. You know, and Jackie, we're going to get started, but there's something that we want the audience to know, and that is there is hope in every heartbeat. So Jackie George, you have been here at the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia. You and I just did the numbers on Thursday.
Yes.
46 years.
Yes.
You have a wealth of knowledge, and you teach this course called Sickle Cell 101. You are director of our clinical laboratory. You are also a certified hemoglobinopathy counselor. I remember when you first taught me how to spell that word.
You did very good.
I remember when you taught me how to spell that word. I'm like, hemo who, Jackie? And so I finally got it. But Jackie, I am just elated that you're here. When we first interviewed you on the talk show, Unveiling Sickle Cell Beyond the Pain, there was a lot of important facts that you shared with us. And we want to delve a little bit deeper into those conversations on our new show, Beyond the Show. So Jackie, I want to start off by just asking you a few things. So 46 years, I'm like just blown away. And I want to start off, let's start off by asking you, what is sickle cell disease?
Okay, well, sickle cell disease, first of all, it's the most chronic red blood cell disorder that exists.
Sorry, say that again?
It is the most chronic red blood cell disorder that exists.
I don't think I knew that. You said it's the most chronic
red
blood cell disorder.
Yes, so you see that more frequently than you see other red blood cells disorder.
You taught me something new.
Sickle cell is a hereditary disorder, which means you can't catch it. It's not contagious. You have to receive it from mom and dad.
Okay.
Sickle cell disease, if you look at, if you put yourself back in high school and you had a little microscope and you stuck the person's finger and you looked at it under the microscope, well, if you see the normal red blood cells, they're nice and round and look like a donut.
Okay.
Those red blood cells flow from the crown of the head to the bottom of your feet, carrying oxygen and proteins and iron all over the body. When it comes to a person with sickle cell disease, their red blood cells are shaped like a half moon or a crescent moon. I showed somebody a picture one time. They told me it looked like little rats. I was like, okay. Or like a banana.
Okay.
So they don't go through the blood vessel very easily. So those blood vessels are clogged up. They can't receive the amount of oxygen that they need to receive. They don't have enough of that red blood cell coloring. Or picture this. Just think of a water hose at home, and you turn the water on, and the water flows very freely. So that'd be like the normal red blood cell. But if you take it and cramp it, bend it down, then you got a flow. It's what? It's not straight. It's being interrupted.
Okay.
Yes. So that's what happens with a person that has sickle cell disease. Their red blood cells don't flow as free as they should through the blood vessels.
So let me ask you this.
And they don't have as many. They don't have those normal red blood cells like the normal ones, like the donut-shaped ones. Yes.
So they have more sickling, more banana shaped than they do the red, soft, spongy. But here's the thing, Jackie. When the cells are sickling and the oxygen is not flowing freely through the arteries, what are the consequences? I mean, what's happening inside of the body? What's happening with the body? Because when I think of deprivation of oxygen, I immediately go to think about a person that has a stroke, a person that have a heart attack, a person being brain dead when they don't get enough oxygen to the brain. So can you tell me?
And all of what you just said is absolutely correct.
Okay.
So it deprives the body from the amount of oxygen that it should have. One of the biggest problems with that is a stroke. And there's a machine that they use called a transcranial Doppler,
Mm-hmm.
and it measures how fast the blood will go through the blood vessel.
Mm-hmm.
If it goes faster than normal, then those individuals are at risk for having a stroke.
Okay.
And a lot of times what they'll do is put those individuals on chronic blood transfusion.
Okay.
Because they need to get those red blood cells in them to make sure that they don't have or not as risky as having a stroke.
What's the process of you said chronic blood transfusion? What is that process? What does that look like, a blood transfusion?
Well, what they do, first of all, they have to cross match them.
Okay.
To make sure you can receive the amount of blood that they won't get and what they call like alloimmunization, because if you get too many blood transfusions, then you risk antigen, then it'd be hard to match you.
Okay.
So they have to make sure that they have those red blood cells are correct for having that transfusion. Now, when it comes to having a blood transfusion, first of all, they have to go in the hospital, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And they give them, like I said, it has to be cross-matched with the correct amount of blood.
Okay.
And they hook them up with giving them blood, in the little packs that people have to give blood to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just give the blood to them. Now, I can't say how long it takes
Okay.
or how many packs that they need, but they'll go by if a person's hemoglobin level is very low.
Okay.
Then they will have to have a blood transfusion.
What is the average level hemoglobin that humans carry? Is it like 16, 15? Because I read that somewhere before, and I know when their hemoglobins get like a 4 or 5, they're in a chronic state, and so they need to get blood so they can increase their blood levels back.
Yeah. So persons with sickle cell disease, their red blood cell, it's important for them to know their hemoglobin level.
Okay.
So that's what they're taught to know their hemoglobin level. Because the hemoglobin level for us is like 10 to 12. The
Right.
hemoglobin level for them may be 6, 7, or 8.
Okay.
And a lot of times if they don't need a blood transfusion, they shouldn't get one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yes.
So you talked about cross matching, right? So when you're cross matching, you're making sure that blood is going to match that
Yes.
recipient, right?
Yes, yes.
And so American Red Cross, very important for people to
Yes.
donate blood. Donate blood. It is
Yes.
so critically important for people to donate blood. So look up American Red Cross online and donate at a center close to you.
And it's very important for people that are black to donate blood.
Yes.
It's better for black individuals to have sickle cell disease to receive blood from black individuals.
Right.
Yes.
So you heard it here from the expert.
please,
if you're
please.
African American, a black person, we need your blood to help our sickle cell warriors. It is so incredibly important for you to donate today. Don't wait, donate. So I want to talk about that real quick.
Yes, and then the foundation is a partner with the Red Cross. So when we have our blood drives, please participate. Please.
We are partners with American Red Cross. We've been partners with them for many, many years,
Yes.
and we are entering upon a season where we're getting ready to start doing blood
Yes.
drives right here at the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia. And I'm really excited to be a partner with theirs because this message is so critical that people don't understand the importance of donating blood. And then, of course, there's a lot of qualifiers to donating blood. If you have, a problem with your iron, lack of iron, you can't donate blood. What about people with sickle cell disease? Can they donate blood?
No.
No. What about sickle cell trait?
Yes.
Yes, they can. So if you have sickle cell trait, you can still donate. We wanted you to know that. Tell me about the different types of sickle cell disease.
Well, see, and most people, unfortunately, they think when they take a test, they're only looking for 3 things. If you're normal, sickle cell trait, and sickle cell anemia, or SS.
SS.
You're so far from being wrong. There's over 1,250 plus abnormal or hemoglobinopathies.
Wow.
Yes. So when a person takes a test, it's not only to see if you have sickle cell, but if you have the C trait, the D trait, the alpha thalassemia trait, the beta thalassemia trait. We even have one called College Park.
College Park trait.
College Park trait, and the foundation was part of that hemoglobin type being
Right.
identified.
Right.
They have something called Baltimore trait and Texas trait. The reason that I like to concentrate more on those individuals that have sickle cell trait or C trait or the beta thal, because that's when you get the 3 most common sickle cell diseases: SS, which is sickle cell anemia; SC, which is sickle cell hemoglobin C disease; or S beta thalassemia disease. And that's like a S with a B with a little tail on it.
Right.
Beta thalassemia disease. And to throw a little, as I say, a little monkey wrench in, there's 2 types of beta thal. Excuse me. A beta plus and a beta 0. But it's always, that's why it's so important for you. You always use the term, know your status.
Know your status. I mean, we tell people, get tested. You can go right to our website, sicklecellga.org. and you can get tested. Sign up for your appointment, come right here to the foundation. We will test you, and then Jackie George and her team, someone will call you from our team to make sure you understand what the status is.
Yes.
And so that's critically important, Jackie. So why, you want to say
Okay,
something?
yes.
I'm going to stop.
But the reason I wanted to say something was you always talk about the status. Let's say if both people have sickle cell trait, okay? A lot of times people may have a child that's normal, and they think, oh, I don't have anything. But if both parents have sickle cell trait, they can have a normal child.
Exactly.
They can have 25% chance.
25%.
They can have a child with sickle cell trait. 50%. They can have a child with sickle cell anemia. So just because you have a normal child does not mean that you're not at risk for having a child with a disease. It can be the same thing with sickle cell trait and the C trait. Then that's
Right.
when you get the SC disease, or the sickle cell trait and the beta thalassemia trait. That's how you get the S beta thalassemia. That's why it's so important to know your status.
I can't wait till you and Dr. Person really put this whole course and everything online so people, no matter where they are in the world, can take this course to really understand sickle cell. It's going to be so dire and so necessary, so needed. I had a conference down in Augusta, and it probably about 150, 200 individuals. And I remember asking, if you know your status, stand up. And not many people stood up. And while that was so critical, because these were young adults now entering into the age of starting to become sexually active, and a lot of them came to me afterwards like, we never knew, no one ever told us. And I was just like, wow. And so of course, if they're born in the state of Georgia, it's mandatory upon birth for them to have a sickle cell test. But the fact that they didn't know lets us know that we probably got those results, tried to call mom or dad, or tried to send something off in the mail and it was returned, or maybe mom and dad did get it and really didn't understand it,
Yeah. And the other thing about that too, Tabitha, it depends on who first approaches them.
Yeah.
You still have some people that say, oh, you got the sickle cell trait, don't worry about it.
Right.
Or you have some people that don't want anybody to know
No, yes.
that their child or someone has sickle cell trait, which is not good either.
Right.
So it's like a stigma or being put on, which is
Yeah.
not true.
Yeah.
So you need to know so you can make an informed decision.
Informed decision, and particularly when you're making a informed decision to have a child regardless, and your child have sickle cell disease, you're more prepared for it, right? I still really don't even think that when people feel that they're prepared, understand the medical necessities and the chronic pain that's associated with it. And so, of course, you and I, we never tell anyone not to have a kid.
Right.
But we say, make sure you're informed before you make that decision.
Yes.
And I think they need to talk to other sickle cell warriors, moms and dads, so they can really understand the journey. Don't just take it from your doctor, go and talk to some real life people living with the disease every single day.
And when I used to talk to a lot of the clients that have children with sickle cell, I would, I guess you can say I would set them up because I'd have them talk to people, but they didn't know that that person had a child with sickle cell disease.
Okay.
So with somebody they was actually talking to, so I would try to get someone when they were babies.
Okay.
Somebody as they got in a little toddler stage, as they got old and all, to pair them up with someone so they could actually talk to someone that has that experience.
Jackie, I do want to ask you this question because being here for 46 years, I know you have lost a lot of individuals to sickle cell. I mean, babies, young adults, Tell me about that. How has that impacted you, knowing that you've lost so many?
Well, Tabitha, it can be very emotional. And I'll just be honest with you. After a point, it was hard for me to go to camp because I would see them. I remember talking to the parents when they were babies. Then as they grew up, and I used to always tell them when they were about 5 or 6, okay, what do you have? I would tell them at that age.
Right.
And when they got a little older, okay, what with your medicine, you need to know the milligrams. Talk to them then so they
Right.
can understand. But as they got older and go to camp, and then I saw some of them grow up and have families of their own, and then they left me. But they will always be in my heart.
Right.
But it's still very hard to lose someone like that.
Yeah, for sure, Jackie.
With coworkers that
Yeah.
I've lost that
Yeah.
had sickle cell too. So
Yeah, for
it can be
sure.
very hard. And I remember going to the hospital when I used to work at the hospital, and there was one of my babies, and his name was, well, can't say his name, but
Okay.
he would be all over the hospital with his IV cord running around, and they would call his name over the intercom, please come back to your room. So those things, and then when he made his transition, so it can be very hard, very emotional.
I'm excited that the foundation acknowledges that, and we have Candlelight Vigil, where we celebrate the lives of the individuals that, you know, were here with us.
Yes.
And it does take an impact after a while when you see so many that you've lost. Like, I just seen her. Like, I just talked to her, you know. And so we have a Care Bear team, and we go to the hospital now, and we get to visit our sickle cell warriors, and it's like, you know, seeing your own son, or your own daughter, or a nephew, or a niece, you know. And so I think it's incredibly important, the work that we do.
Yeah, and it is important because it let them know that there's somebody that cares about them, that genuinely cares about them.
So I wanted to ask you, Jackie, about funding. And I was trying to wait, you know, I want to butter you all up first, you know, with all the good stuff. But then I want to talk to you about funding. We had Andy Lord on a previous episode Beyond the Show where we talked about funding and how we went from $0 in the state budget to $2.7 million where we are today. But a lot of people don't understand that didn't come overnight.
No, it didn't.
And it came with some methodical, strategic planning. You know, it came with shaking a lot of hands, partnership, collaboration, doing these proposals, being accounted for every dollar, every penny that we spent. So I would like to ask you, Jackie, why do you feel that sickle cell do not receive the funding that so many other diseases do receive funding?
Well, if I may,
Yes.
and I'm just going to read out some numbers because people will fact check you when you're putting out information out
Oh,
here.
yeah, they will.
So I'm just going to compare sickle cell with cystic fibrosis.
Cystic fibrosis, okay.
There are about 40,000 people with cystic fibrosis in the United States.
40?
40,000 people with cystic fibrosis in the United States, and approximately 100,000 people worldwide now. And it says approximately 1 in 30 people in the United States is a carrier. Now let me back up. There are about, when it comes to sickle cell disease, and I'm so well of hearing this number, 100,000. I've been hearing 100,000 for umpteen years.
Jackie, I have been hearing 100,000 for the 10 years that I've been here. And I'm like, I know that we have sickle cell warriors that pass on, but we know how many children are born with sickle cell disease, 1 in every 365.
Yes.
And we know in Atlanta, well, Georgia, period, there's millions of births.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that later, but let's get back to your numbers.
But, okay.
100,000, yeah. I'm
So
sick of that number, too.
100,000, which we know is not true.
Right.
1 in 13, you hear the numbers from 1 in 10 to 1 in 13 that are carriers. So we'll have sickle cell trait. We're talking about sickle cell trait now. But listen to this number. Now they said 100,000 people worldwide with cystic fibrosis. Sickle cell numbers are a little lower than that, 7.7 million
Wow.
worldwide with sickle cell disease. So, you know, you think about that. If you got these many numbers with people, a less amount with another disease, and they get more funds, there's something wrong with that picture. Something
But Jackie,
very, very
think
wrong
about
with
this
it.
for a minute, though. When you say 100,000, of course, for many that may not understand, the SCDC does surveillance to track our numbers, right? Along with CDC, NIH, and all that. But we've always understood that the surveillance system was not the best because the numbers haven't changed. So how can you have surveillance and your numbers haven't changed in 10 years,
Exactly.
haven't been updated in 10 years? And so if you and I just did the calculations based on one child in 365 have sickle cell disease, right? And we sat there and did the number of births over the last 10 years, we know we could easily add to the 100,000 number.
Well, in Georgia alone, you get about maybe 150 or 100 or so a year.
150, okay, a year.
Say, you know,
So
and if I've been
150.
here, but just multiply by the amount of time I've been here.
Yeah.
And if we don't say 150, go down to 100.
Right. Wow.
So, okay, we're
okay.
going to leave that one alone again.
Okay.
Now, let me get to another point.
Because you know, I say if it doesn't add up, it don't make sense, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you got the numbers.
Yeah, I wanted to make
Fact
sure.
checking,
Fact
yes.
checking. Fact checking.
Fact checking.
In 1910, Dr. James Herrick, okay, and with internal medicine, he saw the first person with sickle cell disease. His name was Walter Clement Noel, a 20-year-old
1904.
dental student from Grenada. Okay. This was in the 1910,
Yeah.
okay? The first medication specifically approved by FDA for sickle cell disease, which was hydroxyurea, was approved in 1998. So if you take 1910 from it took 88 years.
Wow. To come up with a drug for sickle cell.
I'm gonna leave that alone, Tabitha.
Ooh.
Okay, so these types of things make me upset. If it took 80 and we only got one drug, and I looked at, and I can't pronounce, I'm gonna be honest, I cannot pronounce these names for cystic fibrosis, but they had about 8 different drugs. And it's more than that.
Wow.
And we've been around a long time. So some of the drugs that you're familiar with, the hydroxyurea, the Endori, and the Oxbryta, but they took Oxbryta off the market.
Yeah, it's
so that
gone.
doesn't count anymore.
Right. And then Endori is over the counter now.
Yes, and then they had one Advecchio.
Abekio, that's gone.
That's gone.
That's gone.
So, and the challenge I have with that, if you have a drug that's helping a client, then all of a sudden you just snatch it. So what is happening to their bodies? What has happened to them? Not only, mentally what has happened, like I was doing better and now I have this? No.
Well,
It's
I
not
did
fair.
just have a conversation
not fair.
I just had a conversation with Pfizer, and Pfizer just said that, let me see, how can I say it? They basically said there was more harm than it was good, so that's why they had to take it off the market. Now, I don't know how true it is, but I have to take their word for it,
And
right?
that's fine.
And that's fine, yeah.
But at least they were honest about that part. But you know how my mind goes. When
I
did
have
you
to
find out?
I have to get my card. I'm so sorry. I
That's
have to
okay.
get my card.
When did you find out that it wasn't safe? How long was it? So those types
Right.
of things. And then tablets is something that you always talk about. People say, oh, there's a cure with the CRISPR and all that. If it's not a cure, to me, if everybody is not capable
Eligible?
of receiving,
Right.
or eligible to
Eligible for-
receive. So it's not. And then one of the drug,
Casgevy. So let's just tell people so they can clarify. It's gene therapy. So
Yes.
it's 2 different types of gene therapy. One from Vertex Pharmaceuticals, and then we have one from Bluebird Bio. And so it's gene therapy. They just call it different names.
Yes.
And each one of them have a price tag over $1 million. 1.2 million, 3.1 million, right?
And yes.
And so when you have a process that, number one, everyone won't qualify for, because you have to have 4 or more vaso-occlusive crises
yes.
within a year. And so, number one, everybody won't qualify for it. And then secondly, insurance companies are not paying $1.2 or $3 million, right? So if it's not accessible and if it's not affordable, do you call it a cure?
That's my point. That's my point. And then remember, we've said all the other the numbers that I gave you for cystic fibrosis and things of that sort. So it makes you question why. Why? Because you've got more people.
So,
Yeah, it make you say,
right,
quite a
you just
bit.
have to kind of ponder on that for
You
a
have to
moment,
say,
right?
Quite a bit. Yes.
Yeah. And I think about the fact that hydroxyurea, it was designed for cancer,
Yes.
but now it's been used for sickle cell. But that's the only drug that we have available. So as a result of it, a lot of our sickle cell warriors now, to get out of pain, they start taking what? Opiates.
Yes.
What are the impacts? And I know you're not a doctor, but
No,
just because
please.
you have seen them for so long, what are some of the complications have you heard about people utilizing opiates for a long period of time?
Organ damage.
Organ damage.
Key thing. I don't even have to go any further.
Right.
With organ damage.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the stigma that's placed on it.
Right.
And see, it's unfortunate when, and I'm just going to be Jackie.
Yeah.
When black people do one thing, it's not that there's just that one person. There's everybody is a drug addict and things of that sort. And then what I used to say when it comes to getting opiates and things of that sort, first of all, the sickle cell patient or the warrior did not write the prescription for themselves. Who wrote the prescription?
The doctor.
So if they're on drugs and it's caused a problem, then we need to go to the source.
Yeah. But Jackie, think about, if you've been here for 46 years, right? Can you even imagine a child being on some type of opiate from their time they're like 7, 8 years old up until now? 40? Jesus.
Well, they used to have, back in the day, they used to call them like clean babies. There was one doctor that wouldn't put them on a lot of, strong opiates or strong medication. So, yes,
So I know that Mapilla Don, our partner with My Three Sicklers,
my 3 siblings.
she's fighting right now, and her and Omari Crawford have a bill that they're trying to get passed, where the doctors have to do an annual review of that individual's entire medical profile, but before they prescribe or do anything else. And I think it's a great idea, and I'm really hoping that it gets some traction this year and past when they come back in session, because I do believe that before you write a script, or you need to go through that person's entire history.
Yes. Because everybody's different with sickle cell.
Everybody's different.
So what a lower dosage for one may work, but it may not work for somebody else, and they're still in extreme pain. So you need to know the difference. But the other thing that I wish that doctors or healthcare professionals would do, please listen to the warriors. They know themselves. They know. And because, like I said earlier, just because it works for one does not mean it's going to work for the other. So please, everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
Listen to them.
Listen is so important, and being an active listener,
Yes.
Not just trying to prescribe hydroxyurea because you feel like, it's the safest and the longest drug.
Yes.
It may work for quite a few people, but there's others that it doesn't work for.
Yes.
So
And then you hear with the with hydroxyurea, is that it's safe, it doesn't cause any harm. But if you want to have a baby, you have to come off of it.
Exactly.
So if it's so safe and it's not harmful, then why do they need to come off of it for X amount of time?
Exactly.
So we're going to move on.
So it's the same thing for gene therapy. If you're thinking about having a child, before you go through that gene therapy, which we know part of the process is a cancer drug, you have to make sure you go ahead and remove the eggs or remove the sperm before you start that process, right?
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. So again, there you go again with
You're making me say a whole lot of times today. Like,
And I hope that your audience is saying the same thing.
Maybe we need to do something with that tagline. Make you say So, wow, Jackie, you gave me a lot of aha moments today. Man, I tell you, that's phenomenal. So, Jackie, I know you do counseling. When you do counseling for someone, because we do sickle cell trait counseling, we don't do sickle cell disease because Grady get those results.
Yes.
But we used to have sickle cell disease, and we're fighting right now. Well, I shouldn't say fighting, but we are advocating to have all of it, to have disease back as well. And I think that's going to go through very soon. But tell me, what is that process like of calling a mom or a dad and saying your child has sickle cell trait, and let me give you some counseling behind that? What does that process look like?
Well, but a lot of the times what I do, first of all, I make sure that I got the right person on the phone. So I verify all that information with that chart and make sure.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, I've had some people do some wonderful words because that's fear.
Right.
I've had some people hang up, again, fear. And then I've had some individuals, some parents to say, oh yes, I know because I've been tested or what have you.
Okay.
But the first thing I'll do is just talk to them in general.
Okay.
And make sure that they get because we send out a letter.
Right.
And the letter will state 2 points that we put on it. Number one is your baby does not have sickle cell disease, and it's in bold writing.
Okay.
And number two would tell them which type of trait. Let's just say sickle cell trait.
Okay.
And a lot of times, all people hear is the word sickle cell. So I'm like, no, wait, let's just hold on a minute. I said, now, it's just letting you know that your baby does not. I said, read the first one again. What did it say? And so I said, exactly, your baby does not have sickle cell disease. And then the information that we send to them, I'll have them to get it out, and I'll go through each step with them. Let them know that it's not contagious. Let them know that it's hereditary, that it's received from mom and dad. That if a person has the sickle cell trait, one parent passed the normal, one parent passed the sickle. And that it will never, ever change from sickle cell trait to sickle cell anemia, because some people think that too.
Right.
And then we let them know the possible side effect or health problems that are associated with sickle cell trait, because there are some. You need to be very, especially in Georgia, hydration. You need to drink a lot of fluids. And there are some people with sickle cell trait that may have health problems, some people that don't.
Right.
Again, everybody's what?
Different. Yeah.
So we make sure we let them know about that. We talk to them about probability, the possibility of having a child that's normal with sickle cell trait, with sickle cell anemia, with SC disease, with S beta thal, but how it's so important to take the test and to spread the information to their family members too. And also, if they have a person with sickle cell disease in their family, I'll get that information.
Okay.
And I'll refer them on to our CHW.
Okay.
And I also
What's
tell
the CHW?
community health worker.
Okay.
Yes. And I also make sure that they're aware of that we have a sanctuary that's for them.
Right.
That's an alternative.
Yes.
Not saying that they don't go to their physicians or their primary care or their hematologist, because we have a hematologist here too.
Yes, we do.
But please, take advantage of it. This was a vision of a certain person. I won't call any names, but this was a vision of hers, and I'm glad she was obedient to her vision. But this is for the sickle cell client, something that's never done by anyone else.
She's sitting right here.
Yes, she is.
It was a labor of love, and I'm so glad that we do have the sickle cell sanctuary for our warriors. You know.
And we also make sure that if the parents have any questions,
Right.
that before I hang up that phone, I don't want them to have any questions
Right.
whatsoever. And I tell them, sometimes you're talking to people and you get off the phone and you say, I had an aha moment, and I need to call me back at any time.
Oh, Jackie, you put me back in a mind state. I don't know what year it was because I've been here for 10 years. Everything run together after a while. But I remember we had a couple that got tested, and all the children had something, and the father had nothing. So we had to have a conversation with mom.
Yes.
Like, Mom, what's really going on here? Because based on these results, this can't possibly be the biological dad. And so people don't understand that we have to deliver that news as well.
Yes.
We have to have that conversation. And we've had to call some fathers and say, unfortunately,
Your results are
your
normal.
results are normal. And it's like, wait a minute, hold on. How can that be? Well, we don't really like getting into this conversation on the phone. This is a conversation you need to come in and have face to face. So there are some results that we've had to deliver that was just not good at all.
No, and I'll tell you, it's not funny.
It's not funny.
But it was a story of a client that I had. The mother and the father came in. He took the test, and he said, well, we'll send you results. I'll call you, but I'll also send you a hard copy. Every time I sent his copy in the mail, he never got it. So I'm like, something's funny. I verified the address and everything. The mom was going and taking the information out of the mailbox. So we just had him to come by and pick it up. Yes, we have some stories to tell.
Oh my goodness, we do have some stories to tell.
We do have some stories to tell.
I remember that. I remember like it was yesterday when that father came, and I was really heartbroken for that father.
But the thing is, Tabitha, be honest and tell the truth.
But Jackie, this particular incident, there were not just one child, it was 3 children.
Yes, but again, be honest and tell the truth, because it will come back and haunt you if you don't tell the truth.
Yeah.
Because I had another situation where it was hemoglobinopathy that was rare. The child had SC Harlem. The father came in with the mother, and we talked to her. She took the test and all. Her father was the proband. That means the initial one that you found. Okay. So the baby had SC Harlem. The daddy came in, and he had 3 other little boys with him. So I was like, oh, this is a nice family and all, and have they been tested? He said, well, I want to get my other son's tested. I said, okay, no problem. We test them, and I got a call, and this lady said, why am I receiving information or calls from the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia about my son? I'm like, uh-oh. So this was not the mother that came into the office.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So it was something else, and we had to call that father and tell him, why did you put the foundation in this kind of predicament?
Right.
They were his sons, but that was not his wife.
Oh.
So you can get in some touchy situations, but you have to be careful.
Yeah.
The key thing is, the contact person is always the mother in Georgia.
Right.
And I've gotten some wonderful words told to me by fathers. Well, why can't I get the information? Well, sir, by Georgia, your name is not on any information. But I'm the blah, 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 blah. And I'm saying, well, I'm sorry. The only way you can change it is with the attorneys. I had to even get one father, because my little antennas went off. And he said, well, I'll have the mother call and she can tell. I said, okay. So what I did, I had the mother's name and telephone number. I called her. I gave her a password so that I know if she called, if I said a certain thing, she know what to say. So I know I'm talking to the right mother.
Okay.
So you have to do little things like that too.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, Jackie.
There's stories to tell around the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia.
You know, Jackie, a lot of people don't know that many doctor offices call you.
Yes, they do.
And I hear you talking to all these different doctors. And why do you think that the doctors call you to deliver the results opposed to them doing it?
Well, I think they feel more comfortable if somebody else does it, and that we explain to them, because a lot of times they are taught one thing when it's something completely different. I'll give you an example. With the newborns, they may have something called alpha thalassemia trait. Well, if you look at a blood smear, you will see some little small red blood cells, and they're pale in color. A lot of times when doctors see that, or they get a report back on it's called the CBC, they will see the MCV. These are entities that are on this form.
Okay.
The MCV, the MCH, and the MCAC will run low. Well, that's saying that this person is anemic or need iron.
Okay.
This is the picture that alpha thalassemia paints.
Oh, okay.
So they don't need it. And they don't need a hematologist because this is not a disease.
Okay.
So when you tell them that, then I've had some parents to tell, some doctors to tell parents are just afraid and scary, and they don't want to listen. So it's important that when they tell individuals that they tell them the correct thing.
You know, Jackie, we just had a.
And I'm sorry.
Okay.
The foundation of Dr. James Ekman developed something called sickle cell fact sheets for physicians. And we have one for sickle cell trait, C trait, D trait, variant trait, and it's about 6 or 7 different traits. And we'll send that to them so they have something to go on. It tells them the type of testing, what it's about, and it also gives them the probability so they have it in their office and they can share it in their office. And they're very appreciative of it.
Well, I'm excited, Jackie, because you just did this humongous thing. You just created with this company a video for a trait in both English and Spanish.
Yes.
And I can't wait for us to launch that because I think it's going to be incredible because so many people do have information on sickle cell disease. But one of the things that we found out, a lot of people don't have information on sickle cell trait, and even including athletes.
Yes.
And like you were saying, a lot of athletes, sometimes they know they have sickle cell trait, but they don't want anybody else to know.
Right.
But why that's so important is because if you're in extreme weather, overexertion, right, you could die.
Yes.
And they don't understand that in a matter of minutes. And that's what has happened to some recruits and some soldiers and things of that nature. So it's incredibly important for them to be educated and counseled on sickle cell trait. Right?
Yeah, the military has gotten real strict about that.
Okay.
With making sure that they know. They're not saying that they can't be in the military if they have sickle cell trait, but they make sure that they drink plenty of fluids and things of that sort.
Okay.
And with the athletes, it's important that if an athlete has sickle cell trait, first of all, they need to gradually get into that exercise program.
Right.
They need to drink plenty of fluids. They need to take breaks.
Right.
If they feel cramps, they need to let the trainer or the coach know. If their heart starts beating a little, they need to let them know. Because as you said, there have been athletes that have collapsed on the field.
Oh, and Jackie, please tell them not to do that ice challenge. I know a lot of people with sickle cell disease and sickle cell trait are thinking that the ice challenge is fun. You can die. Do not do it. I know these challenges go around on TikTok and they want to take advantage of it. You can't be drinking a lot of alcohol. You can't be smoking. You can't be doing this ice challenge. So there's quite a few things that they have to abstain from. They can't be a part of it.
And Tabitha, I hate to say this, but some of that is just common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of that's just common sense.
Yeah.
You
But
know, you don't have to be.
But you have to think about your college days, though. You're starting to, have fun and hang out and all that. And kids just want to be normal. I still look at them as kids, right?
Well,
and so,
they are, but
Yeah.
but there's some things you think about now. Let me just say that, is this going to harm me or not?
right.
So some things, do I want to be around a longer time, or do I
Right.
just want to get some kicks and see
Right.
people laughing?
Yeah.
No.
I wanted to express upon that because I just thought about it. I seen something
Yeah.
on TikTok just recently. I'm like, please do not participate. Do not partake in any of that senselessness.
Yes, and I understand people don't want to be different. That's a lot of things with sickle cell clients. They don't want to be different.
So, Jackie, over your 46 years that you've been in this space, what do you want people to know about sickle cell disease as we're getting ready to start closing out? What do you want people to know about sickle cell disease? What do you want them to know about warriors as we're closing out our show today?
Well, first of all, I love the term warrior, but I put a little slash and I say conqueror.
Conqueror, okay.
Because to me, when you're a warrior, you're fighting a lot.
Okay.
But they've conquered so much.
Yeah.
So they're a conqueror and a warrior.
Yeah.
A warrior and a conqueror.
Yeah.
When it comes to sickle cell disease, please listen to the warriors. They know what they are. They know, what they need to do.
Yeah.
And we've come a long way, but we got a long way to go.
Absolutely.
A long way to go.
Absolutely. So, Jackie, you have been around in this industry for a long time, and we so appreciate your service to the sickle cell community. We know you got a lot more to give. Some people call you Mama Jackie, Aunt Jackie, short stuff, little sweetie.
Shorty.
Shorty, yeah. And I just personally want to say thank you for being my partner here at the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia. I know the work you have done has made a tremendous impact inside of our community. So I just want to say thank you for being here. We look forward to seeing you again on some future episodes of Beyond the Show and Unveiling Sickle Cell Beyond the Show. So if today's story has moved you at all, taught you something new, or reminded you of your own strength, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode, tag a friend, tag a warrior, like it, and share it. Don't keep it to yourself. And then we want you to click on the button, one of those buttons, so you can subscribe to the show because we have many other great episodes. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, my name is Tabitha McGee, and this is Beyond the Show. Talk to you later.